So what are we doing in today's video? In today's video, we are taking some of the best-selling niche fragrances of all time, and I'm gonna do my best to select one fragrance from each brand and also rank them in order of my least favorite to my favorite. I'm excited to share this list with you. It was a very difficult list to compile, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I tell you about these 10 really popular, best-selling niche fragrances from 10 different brands, one fragrance from each brand, I want to start things off by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it, hit the bell icon, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you took something of value from today's episode. I also want to mention that although you've probably tried most of these fragrances, especially if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you can actually get a sample of these fragrances because I don't encourage blind buying. You can actually get a sample on scentsplit.com. Fantastic service, really great prices, authentic products, fast shipping. I've personally been using them for many years, almost an entire decade. So here we have 10 fragrances. Basically what I did is I went on scentsplit.com and I clicked bestsellers. And basically all of the fragrances that were populated on that list, I took the best-selling fragrance from each brand, or the best-selling fragrance according to them, and I'm gonna rank it in order from my least favorite to my favorite. However, it also goes without saying that I do love most of these, or otherwise A, it wouldn't be in my collection, and B, I wouldn't have spoken about them as much as I have on my channel in the past. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get the first one out of the way. I didn't want to put it in the #1 spot, although I do have a certain closeness to it. It's Creed Aventus. You know about Creed Aventus, the biggest compliment getter when it comes to niche fragrances. Pineapple, apple, birch tar. I mean, it's a beautiful fragrance. The more recent batches have that nice vanilla underneath. I have been wearing this one for so many years, have bought so many bottles throughout the years. None were ever sent to me. I paid for them all, and I love this fragrance so much. The next fragrance, I also purchased several bottles of. It happens to be my wife's favorite. Now, this is one where I respect what it does. I think it's a great fragrance. It's just one that I don't overly love for the simple fact that I have to be in the mood for it, and I think the occasions in which to wear this one, it's kind of limited. So the fragrance by Le Labo is Santal 33. Santal 33, frank vocal composition. You have the papyrus, the sandalwood, the spices, very smooth and different. But a lot of people are wearing Santal 33 right now, and that's something else that I think contributes to the whole disenchantment of it. You know, the fact that it's kind of overdone, and every brand wants to put out their own version of Santal 33, and it has inspired the industry in so many ways, rightfully so. And I think, you know, it's a successful fragrance because it is such a great fragrance. But Santal 33, not the biggest fan of it per se, although I do love the fragrance, is just not one that I reach for too often. Of course, we also have a fragrance that I truly love, one of the best-selling niche fragrances of all time, by Xerjoff. This is called Naxos. Now, when you think of Xerjoff, you might think of Neo, Uden, Kobe, Renaissance. The brand has so many great fragrances. Something about Naxos though, with that honey tobacco combination, is so wonderful. Although I do think it smells kind of similar to Pure Havane by Thierry Mugler, which preceded this one, and predated it, I should say. We have Chergui by Serge Lutens. This is a beautiful hay tobacco kind of a fragrance, incredibly long lasting. I do have the vintage formulation here, at least I think it's a vintage one. I purchased my bottle many years ago, and I am kind of running out of it, but there's just something so magnetic and so beautiful about the smell. And then we also have another brand that I'm a pretty big fan of. I have many of their offerings. I have a couple of summer-based offerings from this brand that I think are amazing. There's a vetiver-based one, and there's another one that has a lot of citrus. It's called Citrus Riviera. But the fragrance I'm talking about is, I think, the brand's bestseller currently, and it's Rouge Smoking. The brand, of course, is BDK Parfum. The creative director / owner of the company is David Benedek. He did such an amazing job with not just this fragrance, which is this sort of cherry almond heliotrope fragrance, but he did a wonderful job with every fragrance that the brand has put out. We also have Rouge Parfum. Now, I think it's kind of obvious guess what the best-selling fragrance from Raja Parfum is? Creationy is amazing. I love A Midsummer Dream. I love Oceania, but Elysium has this bright, aromatic, citrusy, woodsy, and green tendency about it. It's so beautifully done, so remarkably fresh, perfect for the hotter weather, and great for the colder weather as well, as long as you're wearing it indoors. So of course, now that we're talking about my top 5 favorite brands, kicking it off with Raja Parfum, these are fragrances that always take the cake. They do such a great job. They have sort of entered the mass consciousness in a very clever way, and for good reason. I think these fragrances are symbolic of the types of DNAs that are successful in the industry, and they all paid their dues, I would say. We have Inicio Parfum Privé. This one, of course, is Oud for Greatness. Now, I personally love Side Effect. Side Effect is my favorite, but Oud for Greatness is also an amazing fragrance. It has grown in popularity immensely over the past few years, and just something about that sort of spicy saffron, agarwood, sweet cotton candy kind of a vibe that it has is just done so remarkably well. Oud for Greatness is perfect for this time of the year. Of course, we have one that bears some similarities to Creed Aventus, not entirely similar, definitely does its own thing. By Nishane, it's called Hachivat. Hachivat is a much darker, much smokier, and earthier version of Creed Aventus sans the vanilla. A lot of smoke, I meant to say. And it's a great fragrance that is very nostalgic for me. It reminds me of my grandfather in many ways because of the story of Karagöz, which was a very popular, I think it's a Turkish show, but it made its way into Greece as well. So a lot of what this brand puts out is very sentimental and kind of poignant for me. In terms of the number 2 fragrance, man, I purchased this one. It's my second bottle of it. I purchased this many years ago. I want to say back in 2012 or 2013 by Amouage. You know, Amouage is one of the biggest niche brands of all time. The most popular fragrance from Amouage is, of course, Reflection, despite the fact that the brand has a lot of great fragrances. Epic, Memoir, Fate, Lyric. The list goes on and on. More recently, there's Royal Tobacco, but there's something about Reflection with the citrus, the neroli, the spices, the chili that's in there. It's just an amazing, amazing fragrance. Many would say the niche version of Le Male by Jean Paul Gaultier. And then the number 1 fragrance, there is no denying the success of this fragrance, and I think it deserves this spot. Even though, once again, it's not my favorite from the brand, I have so much respect for this fragrance though. And I can see why it does so well. I can see why so many people want a bottle in their collections, why it's such a compliment getter, and why it's such a greatly versatile fragrance. It definitely has a bit of sweetness in here with the apple and the vanilla. Great for the nightclub, the nightlife, the sort of partying scene. If you want to smell sexy, seductive, and a little mysterious, of course you got to go with Leighton by Parfum de Marly. My favorite from the brand is Carlisle, so if you want to try that, it's an amazing vanilla. It's a bit darker than Leighton, so if you're looking for something that's a little bit more mature, dare I say, you might want to check out Carlisle, but Leighton has this young, sort of a flirty, mysterious, sexy, confident, alluring vibe about it, and it's an amazing fragrance. Thank you so much for watching 10 of the most popular and best-selling niche fragrances on the market. What are your favorites, or how would you go about ranking these? Or if you had to pick a different fragrance from each brand to represent the brand, which one is your favorite? Which one would you pick? Leave a comment down below. Once again, if you're interested in sampling any of these, you may do so at scentsplit.com. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit the bell, give this video a thumbs up. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.